Ba Weep Grana Weep Ninny Bong, I'm Engineer Hoist, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Studio Series number 22 Dropkick from the Bumblebee movie. Dropkick was a pair of triple-changing bounty hunters who came to Earth searching down the Autobot criminal Bumblebee. Now, unfortunately, this is not a triple-changing figure. This is just his helicopter mode from the movie. Hopefully we'll be able to see him in his sports car mode or even possibly a triple changer in the future. But for now, we're going to check him out in his helicopter mode. So let's get over to that review desk and check him out. Alright, so here we are with Dropkick here in his attack helicopter mode. I'm not entirely sure what actual helicopter this is. I want to say like an Apache perhaps. But one thing that stands out is it is pretty much not a whole lot of robot kibble showing here. I mean, sure, if you get close you can see the head there in the cockpit, and he does have some visible hand syndrome here hanging off the back of the tail there. But other than that, he comes together pretty nice. I mean, even from the underside, there's not a whole lot of indication that this guy turns into a robot. I do like the pirate flag they've got here, because not only is it have the skull and crossbones, it actually has an hourglass down there, which was a common feature on some pirate flags, but doesn't show up in a lot of modern pirate media there. So that's pretty cool. He does have a machine gun there under the cockpit there. He's got some missile pods, and these are actually his weapons you can detach and use in robot mode. The tail rotor spins pretty well. The main rotor does spin, but it doesn't. It's very tight, so you can't just like tap it and have it spin. But it does spin, and you can actually rotate it a little bit if you want. That, I think, is a little bit more for robot mode, which we'll get to in a little bit. But other than that, yeah, this guy's just a really nice looking, very thin too, helicopter mode. So let's go ahead and get down to transformation now. The way this guy comes apart is actually pretty interesting. First thing we want to do is go ahead and take these weapons off, and we'll set them to the side. Alright, so now first thing you want to do is you actually want to take these pieces here, because they do kind of tab in right here, and just flip them up. They're on ball joints and they're kind of loose. They are probably going to pop off at some point, or at least move around and be annoying to you. But if not, then lucky you. Okay, so we do want to actually split here, because these pieces here do actually kind of tab over this back tail section here. So these are the legs here that fold up, and those are the arms on the back. And even though you might want to get the legs in there first, you do have to kind of at least have them open so that you to tab on these arms as they come around. So we'll go ahead and leave that, and then we'll just kind of pull these legs down from here and then fold them out, and just kind of get them out to the side there. And then let's go ahead and work on these legs. So that's actually a pretty crazy looking helicopter mode there too, if you want. But what we go ahead and do, we can go ahead and flip these side weapon holders or wings or whatever. I don't know really what the proper terminology is for helicopters are, but we'll straighten out these legs here, and then you get these kind of halfway folded in, and then you want to spin the ski or sled or whatever on the outside, and then go ahead and fold this back up and around, and it will actually tab in pretty well once you get it all properly lined up. I'm not seem to be doing very good right now. I had it a little too high. And then this ski can fold back around. And of course, as is usually the case, you just do the same thing on the other side. Except one extra little thing you do, go ahead and fold in that front weapon on this side here, and then tab that back in. That went a lot better for this side. And you are going to want to go ahead and turn these around. And even though the arms aren't out, it does give you some sort of a Gerwalk kind of mode for anybody who seems to like that sort of thing. Okay, and now we can go ahead and split the tail section here, because these are going to become the arms mostly. And this is where I'm saying these pieces are probably going to get in the way a little bit. We can kind of just position them as needed. In other words, probably off the camera there. And we'll go ahead and lift up this here too, because and fold that down, because what you're going to have to do is actually take this whole section here and rotate it around. And now your legs might get in the way a little bit, so just position that so that it's not in the way there, and then just kind of rotate that all the way around, and then you can fold the legs back down to where it's where you can stand. Let me go ahead and try to raise this up a little bit. So there we go, and he's just kind of doing the Y from the YMCA pose, but he's also kind of, yeah, anyway. And we can go ahead and fold the front of this down, but not all the way just yet. So, and then these helicopter rotors do fold up, but they only fold a certain specific way, so you rotate them around. Now, one thing that you'll notice, well, no, not quite there yet. Let's go ahead and rotate these kind of around and then down, and again, these things just keep getting positioned a bunch of different ways. You can kind of see a little hinge here, so you're going to actually fold this whole section here actually up, and need to fold the arm around. There you go. And these blue kind of exhaust ports, you want to angle those back a little bit, and then once this comes around, you'll see it does kind of tab into the front there, and that's why you didn't want to put down the cockpit just yet. And we'll go ahead and do that on the other side. So kind of fold that around, fold this side up again, fold that exhaust back, and bring this around. Hopefully your pieces are not in the way. And kind of get that, and then you fold the cockpit down, and it's a little tricky sometimes to get it all tabbed in, but once you get it tabbed in, it's fairly secure. And then we just kind of close that extra little piece up there on the chest. And let's go ahead and do these arms, because they're kind of getting a little unruly. And when it comes packaged in the box, it's kind of, the arms are sitting like this, but it's really more meant to sit like that, and I think that does look a lot better. So we'll go ahead and rotate or bend the elbow, because it is a fairly tight joint here. Spin that around, and then your back of the tail just kind of flips and then folds back in. It's very similar to that Tomahawk toy that we got a bunch of years ago. I want to say it was in the Transformers 2010 line. They actually made a recolor of Springer, I think, with it too. So again, we'll do this same thing on the other side. We'll bend it at the elbow, spin it around, and then kind of accordion that arm back. Now, what you run into here, and again, this is something that it's not really clear on the instructions, because they just show from robot to vehicle mode. It comes packaged like this, and this is perfectly fine with the rotor being down like this, but there is actually an extra hinge joint in there where you can actually take this whole thing and kind of push up a little bit. It is a tight fit, or a tight hinge, and I did find there was kind of difficult getting it back into helicopter mode, so you may want to skip that step. But then there is another hinge here that allows you to angle these being a little bit farther back, giving you a little bit more room to work. And then these pieces just kind of fold back up inside there. They don't really tab in anywhere or stay, but they do. It does help to clean it up a little bit. And so once you've got all of that, you are left with Dropkick here. And also we've got the weapons. So they've got a little black piece that flips out on both of them. They're in there pretty tight. There we go. And you can hold them just like most Transformers can hold their weapons. And let's actually bring this down a little bit, because this guy is actually pretty short. And so there he is in his robot mode. And yeah, so no indication that this guy ever was a muscle car in this mode, because this is totally about having a very good looking helicopter mode. But it is kind of disappointing that he's very gray, because when you think of Dropkick from the movie and the trailers, he's very blue, and really the only hint of that is his head and along his feet there. But otherwise, I mean, it is a very good helicopter transformer. And posability is actually pretty decent. I mean, he gets a really nice deep knee bend if you want there, and the pretty decent bend at the elbow. And because of the way the transformation works here, you can actually fold him out a little bit, and so you can get some pretty decent poses out of this guy. Not that I'm really that great at posing my Transformers figures. But for a comparison, I just happen to have a Nova Star sitting over here, so you can see kind of how he stacks up with her. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So he is kind of on the small side, which is a little unfortunate for a helicopter transformer there, but that is the comparison with a Power of the Primes. And I don't think any other comparison would be complete without comparing him with the other Studio Series helicopter transformer. So there we go. We've got the Studio Series Blackout. I cannot even zoom out far enough to get these guys in. But there you go. So Blackout is supposed to be a much larger helicopter. So you would think him to be a much larger robot. But they do share a rotor transformation where it just kind of folds up in half on the back. And they also do share the tail rotor on the left arm there. So yeah, so there's Blackout, and there is Dropkick in his helicopter mode. So like I said, hopefully we'll be seeing him in his muscle car mode at some point or in the future, or even better, a triple changer mode. But that's all we're going to do it. Oh, one last thing. I did actually manage to find this guy on Amazon at retail. I think he's gone up a little bit, but I'll have a link to that listing in the description if you're interested. And I think that's all going to be it. I'm Engineer Hoist. I keep rolling, my friends. Thanks for watching.